Good morning, Yorkshire Classic Cars Ltd fans, and welcome to another glorious, sunny, but windswept, storm-filled day in sunny Retford. Literally no idea why I'm shouting, but that's because the microphone's under my shirt today. You'll see why in a minute. I'd like to start my video today, it's just an update in the workshop, but I'd like to start today with my merchandise which has turned up. Now, this is not an unboxing, it's in a crew bag, okay, but the, the stuff isn't made by crew. If you've had a look, you'll have seen it. But I'd like to draw your attention to this fine tea holding device or coffee. You can even put beer in it, but I don't drink, so I don't know. It's the Yorkshire Classic Cars Ltd mug. I'm going to draw it in for your perusal. Okay, in a shocking. You'll notice a lot of my merch features the same company green that my Capri is in. And do you know what? This is good. I'm a bit weird. I like these mugs because they're a square-shaped mug and have to have a square-shaped mug. I can't have tapered mugs. I can't have flouncy-shaped mugs. I don't care what shape your mug is, but for me, that's just a real mug. You get a real drink in it, and it's perfect for coffee. I'm not going to leave it here because I'll smash it and break it, so I'm going to take it home. But now I can have a cup of tea because you've actually seen it. That came first, so I've been waiting for the other merch. Now then, I've ordered, I'm 5'8", probably 5'9" in my boots. I weigh, as of this morning, 10 stone 5. No idea what that is in kilograms. So if you're watching in Europe, I have no idea what that is. Actually, I'll reduce my weight by a couple of pounds. I'll take my wallet out. Okay. Sea of moths flying out. So I ordered a medium shirt and a medium hoodie just to demonstrate to you as well. Now then, I've lost a bit of weight since I ordered these as well. So the company that makes them is actually based in America. They don't come from America. They come from the Netherlands, I think. But the company is actually based in America. So these sizes go from small to, I think it's 5XL. So if you're more rotund, beefy, stocky, whatever way you want to describe it, then they'll have something for you. So what I thought I'd do was show you the fit, show you the finish. I've just ordered plain colours. Now, this part's going to contain partial nudity. I apologise for that. As I take my shirt off, I've got, you know, humility strips on because I don't want to be demonetised by YouTube. I don't really know what I'd do without the 38 pence this video is going to make me. But this is the Yorkshire Classic Cars Ltd, another sunny day in Retford t-shirt in a plain grey. They do come in other colours. If there are any colours you'd like to see, please hit me up. I can't do a range for one colour. I like plain colours. Now, I was going to start and do all my work in these, but if you ever look around my workshop, you'll see what a mess it is. If you watch the video on the Spitfire, you'll see how the dust and muck and filth ruins everything. So these are going to get kept for shows and things. It does say on the back, Yorkshire Classic Cars Ltd, welcome to another sunny day in Retford. Okay. I like it. I've also got some others. Some have got my Capri on, some have got some stags on. I'm going to put another one with just a stag on. I've got a customer who's allowed me to do that. I love his stag very, very much. And he sent me some really high. I had lots of pictures of these different cars, but unfortunately the quality wasn't good enough to put on a shirt. So that's the fit of a medium on a, I am quite broad, but I am quite skinny as well. So that's on a 5'8" person. They are more than long enough. Okay, if you want to tuck it in. I don't tend to tuck my shirts in. This is the hoodie. My daughter's obviously had hold of it because it's covered in dust or flour or something. Welcome to another sunny day in Retford. This is in a plain black. I just went for plain colours to show you. And hopefully, if I pull off the microphone and stick it on the outside. Ow! Hopefully you should be able to see the fit on that. Okay, so I particularly like these actually. They are really nice. I didn't know what to expect. These are samples I ordered. So you don't actually know what the quality is going to be like. But these are actually really nice. So as you can see, another sunny day in Retford under the hood. And they just fit kind of nice. And I like hoodies. I like them when I'm working. I put my keys in them and stuff. More glitter from my child. But I really like these. So yeah, they're too good to work in for me. If you can afford to work in them, that's fine. But you know, these get ruined in a day. So hence why I wear old stuff all the time. But yeah, I really like it. They're nice and fluffy and warm. So if you want to hit up any of my merchandise, it's on Teespring, and there are links to it in most of my videos. So yeah, I like that. Really like the mug. Done some stickers as well. I think you'll like them if you take a look. I'm going to increase the range with different cars and things, but yeah, it's just sort of picking what to put on at this point. So yeah, loving that. So workshop update here in my Yorkshire Classic Cars Ltd hoodie. Oh yeah, front and back. Love it. I'm really chuffed about this, sorry, so I will keep going on about it. Quick workshop update. You will see that the Mini is under the cover behind me. There she is, all ready to go now. Just needs a wash and a polish, but I have covered it up because obviously I'm working on the Spitfire there. It doesn't sit there usually. The trailer is in and the Mini sits over in the doorway generally, depending on which way I want the sparks to go, but the welding is done on the rear of this now, so that's absolutely fine. She's covered up. I will be doing a walk around video on that car. The interior is all clean. I just need to get a bigger socket to change the steering wheel. I have a socket to fit the steering wheel, but I have literally no idea where it is whatsoever. Excuse me, but that's all that's left to do. So I need to drive it to make sure the wheels are straight. The tracking's all set. The ride height's all set. Vacuum out the passenger footwell, fit the steering wheel, wash it and polish it, and then that is leaving on a date to be confirmed. But I don't think it'll be here more than a day or two, quite honestly. Other stuff going on in the workshop. I did the Mini Clubman. If you haven't seen the video, you can see a time-lapse of me fitting the stripes. And the last video I shot was on the Spitfire here. Now, you can see here, obviously I haven't videoed applying the filler because everybody can mix filler. I'm pretty sure of it. Every car I see has an absolute whack of it put into it. So this is the first coat fiberglass filler I've put on here. I like to put this on. I was shown to do this at Yorkshire Triumphs as well. It does seal and add a little more integrity to the panel from where you've ground it back and stuff in case any of the metal's thinner than it was originally. I don't think it is, but just to be on the safe side. Now then, I will tell you, if you do apply this stuff, it is horrible to work with. Not only applying it, but also, you know, spreading it out and trying to get it smooth like that. I know it doesn't look perfectly neat and tidy, but when you've tried it, you'll understand why it's like that. It's also horrible to knock back. I use a DA sander, and I will be taking the edge off that. If you're really good, you can use an angle grinder with a smooth sanding disc just to take the surface off that, because then I can apply a thin smear of filler over the top. There are still a few ripples here and low spots, but I think the filler will be obviously significantly thinner than it was before. The shape is excellent. Actually, this is where I welded it up here. I was really, really pleased with that. And I've put some in here. This is where the welding was a little bit thin, and I can't get in there to weld it. I can't get that filler out to weld it neatly. So as rather than burning holes and making a splatter fest in there, I'd rather just put a little bit of this in, just to add a little bit of extra strength. Obviously, the whole wing's going to be painted, because as you can see, the paint's just chipping off a little bit here. So I may as well, if you know, it won't cost any more to paint the whole wing as it will just to do a blend in this, well, maybe marginally more, but not a lot more. And then what I do personally is a coat of professional grade anti-stone chip. There are different anti-stone chips available. I've used one and I can't remember the make, and I don't want to sort of name and shame them because it might be me that's using it wrong. But when you apply it, it goes crazed and leaves like spider marks in it, and I hate that. I like a nice sort of hammered finish like Hammerite. I don't know if they sell Finnegan's Hammerite in the USA, but they definitely sell it in the UK. And I like that sort of finish. So what I will do is mask around the edge here, and I will spray anything there where I've taken the paint off, all up the back of here. Any sealer areas will get a covering of anti-stone chip in there. And then when the painter paints it, he'll do the whole wing for me, I would suggest, and then he'll have to do a small light blend into this panel here. Well, there's a little grinding work up the back there, but not a huge amount. But yeah, really pleased overall with how that's come out. Hopefully today I'll knock that back a bit and maybe put some filler in it myself. I might just stop there, just knock it back and put the first smear. I always like to make sure that the shape is correct, because generally if you give it to the painter and it's slightly off, they'll just sort of do what they can with it, but they're not, you know, they won't want to change the metalwork particularly, which I completely get, but I want to make sure it's absolutely tip-top before he gets it. So it's just me who worries a little bit. And do I get paid for that? No, absolutely not. But I'd still rather it be right, because that's how I am. So other jobs I'm doing on this, Spitfire in the next day or two, changing these wheel studs to bigger ones. Okay, these are 3/8 UNF, as you can see. These are the taper wheel nuts. He wants me to fit a common modification here to put Freelander wheel studs in. He's been told on the MOT the UJs, if you can see them in there, the Hardy Spicers, have play in them. I can't see any. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to strip this down. If I have to take this out, I'll check them for play more thoroughly, if there is any play, or I may just change them anyway. He has supplied some, and it's not a huge job to change them, so I may just do that anyway, to be quite honest with you. But I can't see any play in them, but he says the MOT man said there was, so, you know, I'm pretty used to doing them. So the front end of this car is pretty much done. Steering rack, track rod end to change. Again, I'll be doing that way between coats of filler and stuff on the front. The carbs are all balanced. The ignition timing was absolutely spot on, so there's no issue with that. That was fine. And then the bonnet is with the blaster, and hopefully, I don't know if I can pick that up Monday because I have another car coming in on Monday for a few little jobs to be done. It's just basically an MOT failure. It's not a restoration job, but it is a classic, so just a few tiny little jobs on that to sort out. It's an early Austin Metro. So yeah, that's pretty much what's going on in the workshop. I will say the yellow stag, I've had the sump off the gearbox, and I've put a new gasket on. I've sealed it to a very finest smear of sealant just around the outside perimeter, because obviously you don't want to get silicone in an automatic transmission. So, and I didn't really like using it, but it was just in case it was out of square or anything like that. And I think, touch wood, that it stopped it leaking. There was a little teeny tiny dribble under it, and they always leak. I mean, you can't stop them leaking completely, which spread out and looked like a leak. But then I've changed the piece of cardboard I'd laid under it, and it seems absolutely snuff dry now. So I'm assuming, assumption being the mother of all you know what's, that when I filled the gearbox, I did spill a bit of oil. So if it's run down the dipstick tube and just dripped off that, then, you know, that's probably where that's come from. I did think that originally. It remains to be seen. I have moved the piece of cardboard just to make sure I'm in the right, but you could see a spot on the dusty floor. But automatic transmission fluid is really weird. It tends to sort of spread out. But if that is sealed, all I need to do is fire the engine, let it run up to and check the levels and stuff. But I need to pull it out once the Mini's gone. And then I think we're there, basically. I've fitted some of the trims and stuff like that. So, yeah. It's one of those jobs that's an absolute pain, and I've been dreading it, and therefore I've avoided it like the plague. The Capri sump is here. When I left the bonnet, I had to leave it. The guy had to nip out, so I left the bonnet for him, and he obviously I rang him and checked it with him, but I didn't want to leave my sump. This is my sump or oil pan, if you're in America, for my Capri engine, the Rover V8. You can see the standard sump at the side of it there, the deep pan on the bottom. I have removed that for ground clearance, as you can see. And I've changed it to make it longer. So I made the front section come out longer there to add the capacity back in. So obviously it's important to have enough oil to keep the system running at all times. And then I changed it again and added big wings to the side, just basically to try and improve not only the oil capacity, because I was concerned, I'd rather have too much. Oil's one of those things that you're better to have too much than not enough in the sump. So I added a little extra capacity to the side of the sump there, which meant redoing it, but it is what it is. I'd rather, you know. And yesterday, before I started on the Spitfire, I took an hour and just, well, probably about 20 minutes actually, and I've welded in what used to be the original part of the sump to add as a windage tray. Windage trays do two things. I don't know if you're aware of that in a sump. So they're like baffle trays or scraper trays. This stops the crank churning up the oil in there. It also stops the crank having to cut through the oil in there, which obviously costs you horsepower. So basically, it's pretty much free horsepower putting that in there. It has this in from the factory, but because I've extended the sump forward here, I've obviously had to change that a little bit and put that piece in. The other thing I've done that for is when I brake, I don't want all the oil to end up down here because the oil pickup is around here. So when you brake hard and all that inertia hits forward, then the oil is thin and it travels forward in the sump and it can cause you oil starvation issues. Now, I don't know if I've got this right. I've never built a sump myself. I've studied other sumps. I think I've got that right. But that's basically to stop it sloshing up, and it's to try and divert it in a circle back into the sump where the oil pickup is. And I've also fitted, if you can see it in there, I noticed when I did the Honda S2000, that had some pieces around the oil pickup like that. So I've added that in as well. Obviously the oil pickup sits where you can see that big blob of sealant there. That was me checking the clearance. So the other thing I've added is the oil return there for the turbo. That's 5/8 or 16 millimeters. I bought that off eBay. It was only a tenner. Machined it down on my lathe at home, put it through there. The weld is huge. And that's basically because I cut the hole, changed my mind, went higher with it, and then I had to go lower again with it. So I did 2 runs with the welder. And then I realised that I'd put that exactly where the oil pickup pipe sits. So I had to grind it all and pot it all back smooth so the oil pickup didn't catch it. The oil pickup pipe won't interfere with it, but it does sit in there about where my finger is now. And then what I've done here is I've polished all the welds back to try and increase the speed of the oil running back, because I've increased the amount of the sump basically. So I want that to all flow back to the sump where the oil pickup is as quickly. It's no use it sitting up here. It wants to go down. Now, hopefully that's all going to work. The twist on the sump is minimal. I didn't clamp it down. I was going to weld it to my bench, but I had to turn it around that many times. It just wouldn't have been practical. There is a tiny bit of twist in it, but I'm fairly sure once I've put it on, it will clamp up. If the gasket leaks, it's very easy to remove the sump in the car because there's no cross member under it or anything. So if it does weep or leak out a little bit of oil, what I might do is just do like modern cars, like, well, modern, my GTR was like this. It just had a seam of silicone seal around there. It actually says in the manual what thickness bead to put in there. And you have to leave it 20 minutes and then you bolt the two together. If you pull too hard on the bolts and washers, it rivets this out, which that one is already actually, and it's not from me. And then basically this bit seals, but this bit has a gap in it. So we'll see. It's a modern rubber seal, so we'll see how it gets on. To be honest, Rovers always weep blooming oil in my experience, so, you know, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. I ran out of really thick steel when I came to these pieces, so I'm hoping they'll be all right, because obviously they're the most vulnerable parts. This is super thick stuff and was really easy to weld. I've had some fuel in there and it doesn't appear to be leaking out. So what I'm going to do with the sandblaster is get him to blast this inside as hard as he can, because obviously when you MIG weld, there's spatter everywhere and little bits of wire break off and stuff like that. And as you can hear, or as you can see actually, there's all bits in it. So what I want him to do is hit that really hard with the sandblaster inside to break free any spatter or little bits of metal that could end up in the oil pickup pipe and obviously into the main bearings. It's risky, obviously, but then it'll need washing out probably 10 or 15 times. What I'll do is I'll get some paraffin to shake off any muck, and then I will hit it with some really hot soapy water time and time and time and time again. Then paraffin, then let it dry, mop it all out, and then spray it with a bit of WD or something to keep it dry. Paint the outside and bolt it on the engine. It's a bit of a faff, but the thing is, you do not want to carry grinding sand. Sandblasting sand gets literally everywhere. I'll tap it with a mallet and stuff to try and shake any free, because, I mean, there's still sand occasionally falling out of the Mini, so it does get everywhere. But yeah, so that's the plan with the sump. The other job I've done this week, this has been an evening's job. I've been staying after work to repair my trailer. I bought some wheel arches. It turns out my wheel arches, they were very, very bent and broken. This trailer was royally abused before I bought it. And to be fair, I've royally abused it since as well. So all these brackets were bent. All the wheel arches were bent and stoved in. You can still see dents in them there. I'm not, you know, I'm not panel beater, but they were really, really, really damaged. I've had the ramp arms across them when I put the mini shell on it and stuff and crushed the tops of them in. You can see there the damage on that. So what I did was I tried to buy some new ones. I went to a trailer place and bless him, the guy helped me out with these. But they weren't quite wide enough and they're made out of plastic and they lasted about 30 seconds. So they were no good. I tried to order some new. I looked on eBay, I've looked all over the place and I just cannot find any. So I've ended up having to repair the old ones that are the right width for the brackets. I've straightened all the brackets out, welded them back together. Very quick wire wheeling just on the end there and sprayed them black. As you can see, it's been used since. And I did the last one last night. So if you were having a beer on your Friday night, bless the non-drinker who was stuck repairing his blooming trailer. Every time I do anything, I replace it with stainless steel fixings. So they're stainless steel, or these are stainless steel. And the bolts underneath, which I'm not climbing on the floor in my nice clean hoodie to show you, are stainless steel as well. So sad and lonely as it is, I do like my trailer to be in one piece and respectable and reliable. Basically, when I need it, it's got to be there, and I'm picking the Metro up with it and the bonnet up with it. So it's got to be a good little trailer, and it is actually a lovely trailer to drive with. Capri, not changed. Absolutely not a blooming thing. Not touched it, not looked at it. I've dropped my turbo, which was a catastrophic mistake, and it's touching inside. I think it's because I never tightened the front housing bolts up, and it's just moved the front housing. And when I say I think, what I mean is I'm praying. I've had to alter my tensioner, the one I made to delete the aircon and the power steering. So I've turned that around the other way because the fan belt was too close to here. So I've moved that the other way around, and that is now pulling against that. So the belt goes up there, up to the outside of this, round the water pump, over the alternator, round the other tensioner that I've removed for now. It's seized up, is that I need a new one. And then back round the bottom of there. So that should, famous last words, work all right. But when I buy the belt, I will buy 2. In fact, I may actually buy 3, just to be on the safe side. I've got an old belt there kicking around, and I've measured that out, so I know the length. What I'm going to do is, my good friends at Davmac, who send me all my parts, I'm going to leave that with them and see if they can sort me out a couple of belts to within sort of 5 to 10 mil of that. Should be fine. And yeah, that's as far as it's got. The oil pickup pipe is now altered, so I've done that. It's lost a lot of altitude. You'll see the most scruffiest welding around there in the entire world. This started off really, really neat when I welded the bracket back on, and then I was absolutely convinced that I burnt through the pickup pipe at the back there. So I put a couple of spots on, and I thought, oh gosh, it's got so hot it's burnt a hole through it. So I then buried all that and went all the way around 3 times just to make sure that it's absolutely sealed into there so that it can't take oil in through the bracket, because otherwise the bottom of the sump's just not going to get used. I bent the pipe so it's up a little bit, and that should leave an 8 to 10 mil gap between the bottom of that and the sump, because obviously if it's too tight, it can't get oil into the pickup. So that's ready to rock and roll. It just needs a quick blowout with some paraffin, and then that can be bolted in. And later today, I may, if I'm feeling fruity, torque up the big ends so I don't forget. And I've ordered the ECU. I'm going to do an unboxing when that arrives. Of course, pretty excited about that, to be honest. It's a mega squirt. I've never used one before. I've never done my own mappable ECU before. I've never built a loom for it. I have built looms for ECUs. I've adapted looms and stuff, but not built a full loom for myself. So I've got all that to do. It's an MS3, so it's like a Mega Squirt 2, but it's got the 3 upgrade in it, which is semi-sequential fueling, batch ignition, I think, and it's also, but the thing it has is it's got a data card in it, so you can actually download what your runs are like and stuff, and check your mixtures and all that sort of stuff. So there's lots of cool little gizmos and gadgets with it. I bought it from a company that offers them as a kit. So it comes with the trigger wheel, it comes with the pickup, it comes with the coil packs. The only thing you basically need to do is finish wiring the loom, terminate the loom to the sensors that are already on the Rover engine. So it gives you the it works with the sensors that are there. And then that's it, basically. It comes with a base map, I think. I may have to upload one, but people tend to put them on the internet for use, so we should be all right with that. And it works with the idle speed control valve and that. That's assuming that all those things work on that engine. Obviously, I've never had it running, so it'll be a suck it and see job. But hopefully, within the next few weeks, weeks that will go. I didn't get into street weekend. I got a email the other day from Santapod saying I haven't been accepted, so that's that gone basically. Someone did say to me, one of my mates said that two of my mates actually said it may change a week before, so just keep going with it. But quite honestly, I'm not bothered really now. I'm just going to keep plugging away with the car when I get a chance. I haven't got the time and the energy to be constantly ploughing away on this on an evening and stuff. I've got stuff to do in my own house and stuff. So yeah, so that's the upshot of the workshop, and continue on with that little malarkey. So yeah, thanks for watching. Please take a look at the merch. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, if you like this sort of stuff.